Hello, we're the History Hikers. We are standing in front of the ruined Abbey Church, parts of the Abbey of Chaalis in northern France. It's looking pretty impressive. There's also a Christmas market going on right now, so there's a lot of people.
And maybe also some ambient sounds, Christmas music.
Yeah, it's looking nice from here, I think.
Yeah, very much.
Right, let's check it out. The Abbey of Chaalis is located in the Ermenonville forest in the Oise department in northern France. It's near the city of Senlis, which we checked out last week. The name of Chaalis is derived from Cadolicus or Cailis in vulgar language. This in turn might be derived from an older Celtic word referring to shelter.
The first mention of Chaalis appears in a document from the 7th century. A mill is mentioned at a place called Cadolicus. The abbey itself was founded 4 centuries later. King Louis VI, known as the Fat, wished to honor the memory of his cousin Charles the Good, Count of Flanders. Charles was murdered in Bruges by his rebellious subjects on the 2nd of March 1127. The abbey was founded under the rule of Citeaux in 1137 and was settled by 12 monks from the abbey of Pontigny.
Sorry about the drops on the lens. Can't do anything about the rain. A first church was built on the site in the middle of the 12th century, but no trace of it remains today. In 1202, a new Gothic church was built. At 82 meters long and 40 meters wide, it was, until its destruction, one of the largest Cistercian churches in France.
The 13th century and the first half of the 14th century were the abbey's golden era. At this time, the abbey was a center of a fertile intellectual life. Despite several barns and grounds in the surrounding area, the abbey did not spread much, with only one daughter abbey founded.
The prosperous times came to an end during the 100 Years' War. The decline in vocations led to a reduction in the number of monks and lay people. To protect the abbey from insecurity during the war, there was even a small fortress built in the abbey courtyard, though it was dismantled in the 15th century. After the war, the abbey buildings were restored and a bell tower was built over the abbey church.
In the 16th century, many new building works were started at the abbey. Since Chaalis is so close to the French capital, they hoped to bring the king over to the abbey for visits and, of course, rich donations. The frescoes in the abbey chapel were painted at this time by an Italian painter. Despite the many outward decorations, the abbey only still had 44 monks at this time.
During the 18th century, a grand campaign of reconstruction was envisioned for the abbey. To make way for these new buildings, the old cloister, among with some other buildings, were destroyed. Even though the works had only just begun, funds were already lacking. Only the chateau was constructed, which houses the present-day museum. With the abbey's finances under heavy strain, the works were interrupted. The abbey had such high debts that the abbey grounds were seized by its creditors after judgment by the parliament in Paris. In 1786, the abbey was closed under orders of the French king Louis XVI.
During the French Revolution, the abbey was sold as national property, with the new owner settling in the chateau and using the abbey church as building materials. Only the chapel remained intact. In the early 20th century, the chateau was converted into a museum and the grounds placed under care of a curator.
With the end of this video, which coincidentally is also our 50th full upload, we also end our historical hikes through northern France for now. All these videos were shot in the span of 1 week in November 2021, and this video is uploaded in July 2022, so I think we can be proud of the hard work we did in November. Our next big trip will be in September when we go back to southern France. Not to worry though, there are still plenty of castles, abbeys and other historical places coming up in the following weeks to keep you covered. Thank you so much for watching the History Hikers, and we'll talk to you soon. That was the abbey, or what remains of the Abbey Church of Chaalis, and yeah, the chapel, unfortunately, is being restored, so it's not that pretty inside there yet. Yeah, it was impressive ruin.
Yeah, very impressive, especially because some of the stonework really looked like it was fresh, even though it has been its ages old.
Well, it might have been restored a bit.
Why would they restore it
I don't know.
when it's already ruined though?
Yeah, no, definitely check it out if you're ever in the area. We're the History Hikers. Thank you for watching. Give us the stuff.
Like, comment, subscribe if you have enjoyed watching this video.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye!